Trying to find a great neighborhood in the Cherry Creek School District? You've probably specifically heard just how well ranked Cherry Creek High School is, which puts homes in that catchment area at the top of your list. So today we're touring some Cherry Creek High School feeder neighborhoods and areas in that catchment area, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, it's Alyson with Live South Denver, your real estate strategist and realtor for the South Denver area. Being in a top-ranked school district is one of the key criteria I hear from folks who are moving to the area. It doesn't really matter whether they have kids that are going to be going up through school, have never had kids, or their kids are all graduated. It really comes down to home value. People understand the value of being in a top-ranked school district because it's great for resale. Living in a neighborhood that feeds into the Cherry Creek High School area certainly qualifies as living in a great catchment area, and we're basing that off of things like looking at schooldigger.com scores, greatschools.org scores. Schooldigger.com ranks Cherry Creek High School as number 19 in the state, and greatschools.org gives Cherry Creek High School a score of an 8 out of 10. To give you a feel of the areas that we're going to be looking at today, here is the catchment area map for the Cherry Creek High School area. This area covers parts of town with addresses that include Greenwood Village, Denver, yes, Inglewood, yes, and Centennial. While it would be great to take you on a tour of every neighborhood in the Cherry Creek High School catchment area, there are somewhere in the realm of 60 different neighborhoods in here. So we're gonna try and get a sampling tour of the homes that are in this area. Prices range from around $500,000 on the low end for a single family home up to $10 million or more. Actually, the most expensive home for sale right now in this area is over $20 million. Let's talk a little data about homes in this area so you can get a feel for home sizes, home prices, and then we'll do our tour. When we look at homes that are currently on the market and actively available for sale, the smallest house on the market right now is about 1,400 square feet. The average, when we look at the smallest home sizes, those run in the 1,500 square foot range. The largest home for sale is 17,000 square feet. The least expensive home for sale is $455,000. That home is a deep, deep fixer. It is not the smallest home, but it is not one that is particularly move-in ready. And then the most expensive home on the market right now is over $20 million, as I shared, and it is certainly not the largest. Actually, the square footage on that one was under 7,000 square feet. It was more about the land, the size, the acreage that drove up the price on that one. The average size of homes that are currently on the market is about 5,100 square feet, and the average price of active homes is running around $2.6 million. But as you can imagine, when we've got a $21 million house lying out there, it is certainly pulling up the average quite a bit. If we go to the homes that are currently under contract, the average size on those is about 3,600 square feet, and $1.14 million is the average under contract price. If we look at homes that have sold in the last quarter in this catchment area, the average size is about 3,700 square feet with an average price just shy of $1.75 million. So it's probably not surprising why there is larger average square footage in the active homes, why there is a higher average price in the active homes. It takes a longer time for those very large homes with very large price tags to find a match between buyer and seller. So the active segment seems to have larger numbers overall versus the ones that are under contract and sold. All right, let's head out and tour some of the lovely neighborhoods across this Cherry Creek catchment area through Inglewood, Centennial, Greenwood, and Denver. Cherry Hills Village, while not a neighborhood, has one of the largest address footprints across the Cherry Creek High School catchment area. The way to know if one of the homes you're looking at is in Cherry Hills Village, look at that sign over my shoulder. If there are red street signs, it is a Cherry Hills Village home. There are lots of different styles of homes in Cherry Hills Village. You're gonna get to see some as we roll all this footage. There's gonna be mid-mods, there are gonna be cottage style. There's lots of wonderful big trees and lots of acreage. In addition to being in the Cherry Creek High School catchment area, there is also the Kent-Denver Private School in Cherry Hills Village. Cherry Hills Village tends to be home to the very highest price point homes in this area, but there are also much more modest homes that drop down toward that $1 million and change price point, so closer to the average price point. We will be getting out of Cherry Hills Village if we're looking for homes that fall below the $1 million price point though. So while Cherry Hills Village is more on the north end of the Cherry Creek High School catchment area, as we move more center and move south of that, we get into definitely more modest priced homes. So we're in Cherry Park right now. That is definitely more south, but not the most south. We're headed there next. Cherry Park definitely has some wonderful family homes. Cherry Park, this community we're in right now, has this great park behind me. They've got a public pool right down the street. One of the downsides to this community that you might be able to see right behind me, power lines. So those do crisscross areas of this community, and as you get closer to them, because they are high tension power lines, you can hear the hum of those. And for those of you that have watched enough of my videos, I always discourage buying under or very near power lines. It is tough on resale. So when we get down to the southern part of the catchment area, and we're still on the west side of I-25, we're getting into neighborhoods like Fox Ridge, Homestead in the Willows, Hunters Hill, Heritage Place, Walnut Hills. So behind me, we are in Hunters Hill, and it has a very similar feel to the homes that are in Homestead in the Willows. They were built by the same builder. One of the pluses to that is if you love Homestead, Homestead Farms, Homestead in the Willows, but sometimes those homes crest out of your budget because commonly those homes will hit 1 million plus, though I will tell you, go to the video that I'll give you at the end and you'll see the neighborhood, and there are some homes under $1 million in there. The nice thing is if you're loving those floor plans in that style, because they do have kind of that Nantucket feel, you can snag one of those over here in Hunters Hill for under $1 million for sure. And you do still get a pool, you do still get amenities, and the location over here is uber convenient. It's really close to I-25, no power lines around, so there's a lot of pluses to this little enclave location over here. All of these neighborhoods that I just mentioned are more toward the south, as I'm saying. They're closer to County Line Road, Dry Creek Road, so close to the tech center, but they all still fall within the Cherry Creek High School catchment area. To cross over to the other side of I-25 and get to the east side, we're going to use Greenwood Village as our jumping off point. If you have a Greenwood Village address, you may have a home on the west side or the east side of I-25. We're in Sundance Hills, which is a fantastic neighborhood that does have a pool pretty centrally located next to the Denver Tech Center. Home prices here fall in the average range for what the stats tell us. They're in the upper 1 millions, mid 1 millions here. Our next stops take us to the east edge of the Cherry Hills catchment area. Our last stop takes us, as I said, over here to the east edge of the Cherry Creek High School catchment area. We are out of the Greenwood Village side of things, and we know that because there is no GV in the upper side of the street signs. The two neighborhoods we are popping through is Cherry Creek Vista and the hills at Cherry Creek. Cherry Creek Vista actually has a couple different kind of sub neighborhoods. There's Cherry Creek Vista South, the hills at Cherry Creek Vista. On the whole, if you're in Cherry Creek Vista, you're going to get a home under $1 million generally. And when you push up a little bit north to the hills at Cherry Creek, which is just, like steps away from Cherry Creek State Park, you're going to be above $1 million unless you find a house that is a fixer. Everywhere we have looked in this Cherry Creek catchment area has its conveniences, its pluses, its minuses. A lot of it's really going to depend on the price point of the home that you want to be in, and if you're commuting anywhere. Are you commuting to the tech center? Are you commuting to downtown? Are you remote? As you know, when you're looking for a home, there's lots of different things you're looking at. It's not just schools, it's the community vibe, it's the size of home you want, all of that fun stuff. Thanks for touring with me through all of the Cherry Creek area today. You can check out these videos for more information on Greenwood Village and the Homestead neighborhoods. And as always, if you want to chat about moving to Denver, buying or selling in any of these neighborhoods or other parts of South Denver, I would always love to connect with you. Feel free to reach out. Hey, I will see y'all next week.